What if leadership is not something you wait to step into, but something you learn how to carry, protect, and grow in every stage of your life? Stay with me, because today we are going to understand leadership in a way that will shift you and how you show up and how you lead. Starting now. Hey, my Mama Faye family. Come on in. Your journey has brought you home. Take your seat and relax, because the next couple of minutes will change your life. Let me introduce myself to some. If this is your first time, I am Mama Faye, and I am on a mission to elevate women who are becoming, women who are growing into themselves in real time, women who hold families, careers, and relationships together. I bring my lived experience as a wife, a mom, a nurse, a leader, a coach, and a woman who has walked in many seasons in life. This week, we are going to explore how you are becoming the leader everyone looks to, and how to grow into leadership and stay strong at every level. And now we're going to step into and remain that great leader, and every stage of your life and your leadership journey, how you're going to step into that. Now let's take this real and simple. Leadership is not just a position you hold. It is not just a title. Leadership is really a responsibility. It is having influence over others while you are still growing at the same time. You are leading when you are guiding your family through hard moments. You are leading when you show up at work and make decisions that will impact other people's lives. You are leading when you support your friends and hold space for them. And you are leading when you bring something and you build that something from nothing. And finally, you are leading when you are mentoring someone who is trying to find their way. So leadership shows up in our home, it shows up in our community, it shows up in the classroom, and it shows up in your place of worship, in the companies that you lead, and of course, in your own business, your groups, and your relationships. And here is what many women feel, but do not always say it out loud. I am doing a lot, but I do not feel confident. I am responsible for so much, but I do not feel supported. I am showing up, but I am sure if I am doing it right. If that is you, you are not alone. A great leader is not someone who has all the answers. A great leader is someone who stays grounded, keeps learning, and adjusts when needed. A truly great leader listens more than reacting. A great leader communicates clearly. And a great leader has to be consistent even when things are uncertain, and more so when things are uncertain. And here's the truth. Leaders are not a finished product. Leaders are always becoming too. They are learning in real times, or I'll say we are learning in real times, and we are growing while we lead. Now, here are some answers to some really great questions. So, how do you keep growing at every stage of leadership? You do so by staying open to learning. You have to stay honest with yourself, and you have to be willing to adjust. I believe it was last week I talked about how becoming a manager, how you have to really manage yourself And the way that you manage yourself is a lot of times you have to do that hard work of evaluating yourself. Because a lot of times as a leader and as a manager, we love to evaluate the people around us, evaluate the people that we lead. We want to see, progress in their lives. We want to see them grow. We want them to minimize the mistakes that they're making. And this is no matter what you are in managing, but more so this week we're talking about leadership. But a hard part of leading is being able to look at yourself and me looking at myself and being very honest and doing those self evaluations, because it's very key that you're evaluating yourself and holding up that same tape measure that you are holding up to other people that you lead. That tape measure has to now be held up to you to see if you're measuring up to the same expectation that you have for the people that you lead. Another question is, how do you improve communication? Because communication is very key to being a leader. And so many want to know, how do I do that where it brings about the results that I'm looking for? Because sometimes as a leader, it's hard for you to understand, and you're not sure if you're getting across a message that you're trying to convey. And so having the ability to be able to communicate is really, really key. You how to do that? These are one or two ways that you can do that. Is you and I have to say what needs to be said with as much clarity, as clear as we can say it. And most importantly, show respect to everyone that we lead. If we're not coming from a place of respect, guess what? Respect is, we always hear, is earned. And so as a leader, you have to be respectful in order to gain that respect back. And then we have to stop holding everything in, and we have to be able to express how we feel. But as we express how we feel, we have to make sure that it is things that need to be said. Everything that comes to your mind do not need to be said as a leader. Now, if you are thinking about going into leadership, I want you to know how many want to know how to do so and how to find a mentor. And that is one of the big things that as a leader, or if you're becoming a leader, is being able to find a mentor. And also finding other leaders that you can pattern yourself by. This is very simple, but yes, sometimes it's hard to figure this out when you're first trying to figure it out. You and I have to look for someone who is living and leading in a way that aligns with who we are becoming. If you cannot reach them, then you learn from them from a distance. A lot of times we want people to lead us up front and up close, and that is the ideal way, is to have somebody to be leading you or mentoring you on a one-to-one basis. But many of us don't have access to some of the leaders that we would like to be able to have access to. And sometimes people who are leading, they're having demanding lives, and they have things that are on their table that even though they would like to mentor people, they just don't have the time to do so. So you and I, we have to pick up their books or their ebooks. We can listen to their podcasts, attend their master classes. A lot of times they will have a master class because they can't do the one-on-one. But what they'll do is they'll put out a master class for a group of people to be able to come And when you want to learn to lead, or you want to become a leader, you and I, we have to invest in ourselves. We have to, just like we invest in our clothes and how we look, and what we drive, and where we live, and all of those things, and sometimes for some vacations and all of those things. Yes, you and I are going to have to take time to invest in becoming a leader. And that means spending that hard earned money to attend the master classes and learn how to lead. Take notes. And I'll give you a tip. A lot of things are free and resources that, even if you go to some of these people's website, a lot of times they have a lot of free stuff that they have on their website. A lot of times they do podcasts, and they're interviewed by people. Listen to those podcasts. Many of them drop a lot of jewels while they're talking in interviews. And if the local library hasn't closed yet, you find a local library and go and check out books from those that are mentor. A lot of times those books can be found in those libraries. So that is just some ways that you and I can find people to mentor us. And if you don't have anybody one-to-one that's right up close to you, then find one and be mentored from afar. And what you do is you study how they think, how they speak, and how they move, and how they make decisions. And also, too, critical is, how do they lead under pressure? How do they lead when they make a mistake? Those are also very valuable information that you can have so that you can be a better leader. Now, let me give you something this week to carry with you this week. A true leader does not wait to feel ready. He or she takes every opportunity to become a leader. Start right where you are. Start with your family. Start with your community. Begin on your job. And wherever you are, I want you to start today. If you really, really are interested in becoming a really good leader and a great leader, start where you are. Stand in becoming dependable by being consistent and showing up the same way every time, and lead with integrity by doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. Because why? You're becoming. And be responsible while you are still becoming. Now, here is your Becoming Me quote for this week. I want you to know that leadership is not about being ahead of everyone else. It's really about having the courage to lead, to grow, to guide, and to stay steady. Now, let's get into what you can do starting today. First, you can lead yourself first. In order to become a great leader, the first thing you got to lead is yourself. Take a few minutes each day and check in with yourself and ask, what do I need in order to show up better in my own life? Write it down and then follow through on that. And when we learn to lead ourselves, we become stronger for others that we want to lead. Next, let's communicate and speak clearly with respect and not with confusion. Because one of the greatest things that a leader can do is to be able to communicate effectively to the people that they're trying to lead. So we have to learn how to say what we need to say in the most simplest words and terms that we can. Let's practice making whatever it is that we're trying to convey into simple steps and simple directions. And these simple steps and simple directions will help the people that you lead so that they can have a clear understanding about what it is that you're talking about. And a good thing model to use is to ask them if they need clarification. Don't make people feel comfortable being able to clarify with you without us getting showing a sense of like that because somebody is getting clarity that they are being rebellious or they don't want to be a part or they are trying to resist you. A lot of time clarity matters because even sometimes when you're in a group and one person says something back and asks you a question about something you say, a lot of times we target that person and think that that person is against us. But a lot of times the people that's sitting in that room was thinking the same thought. They were just bold enough to say it. And that's a clear sign that whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, even though it sounds to you like you said it very clear, and you probably did, but obviously the people in the room did not hear it as clear as you tried to convey it. So don't be afraid to rephrase, to re-say what it is that you're saying and give people clarity. Allow people to be able to ask questions because a good leader can take some questions. And what this does is it helps build trust and it helps build respect. And then, as we said before about mentoring, is learning from someone who is doing it well. Find somebody who is doing what you are trying to do and choose that one person. Watch how they handle their pressures and how they make decisions. Take one thing that they do and learn from it this week. Growth happens in small steps. Now, let me check in with you. For those of you who are starting this process of becoming, where are you with your becoming goals this week? Personally, I have 6 becoming goals that I'm working on, and they're pretty much the headings of 6 goals that I have. And then under those goals, I write small sub goals and I write how I'm going to accomplish those goals. And that's what this podcast is really all about, and this becoming me process is about. It's really about you and I becoming very serious about where we are in life and where we want to go in life. So the becoming goal I'm working on this week is part of my financial goal, and that is I'm monitoring my budget. I've set a budget that I created, and then I did some monitoring of that budget. So now this week I have to do more monitoring that budget, because what happens is if I don't monitor that budget, then what happens is even though I have it written down, it gets away from us and it gets away from me. Because leading also means taking control of your finances, making wise choices. It is also helping me to in my leadership and my leadership goals and my becoming goals. It's also, helping me when it becomes so easy to swipe that card, and and sometimes you swiped it one time too many. Then now I have to make that adjustment, and I have to readjust the budget. I have to recreate that plan and then monitor my budget while I am still preparing for my future expenses and my future spending on important things that are important to me. And all of this is an important form of leadership. Now, if you have not started your journey yet, I want to ask you this. What is keeping you from starting? remember, this is not a contest. This is not you can't fail this. You can't become a failure, because a lot of times we don't want to set goals because I've already tried that. I've done that. That doesn't work, or it's going to take too much time and I don't have time to focus on that. But actually, in actual reality, you're not going to be able to measure your process or your progress until you set goals. You don't have to call it goals, but you better set some goals and figure out how you're going to get to accomplish those goals. That doesn't mean you're going to accomplish it in the amount of time that you may set out. You might have to push it a little bit back. But it might also surprise you, because you might actually complete a goal before you even expected to get it completed. It's really going to be up to you, but sometimes life happens and life gets in the way of our goals, and that's not okay, but it happens. But if we don't get back on it, then we will, as I said so many times on this podcast, and when you hear me talking, if you don't have a goal and you're not setting them and you're not resetting, we're going to find ourselves 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and we're going to have nothing to show for our lives. We're not going to have anything to show for our purpose of what we've done. So, what becoming goals would you like to start this week? Not later, not when things slow down, but I need you and want you and pray for you to start it this week. And please leave a comment. I really want to hear from you, and let me know what you are becoming and what goals that you are currently working on or you're going to start this week. And you can always reach me on Substack and message me to connect about your becoming goals. Now, here's your next step. Do not just listen. Apply one thing from today. That is how you move from hearing to becoming. And then I want you to subscribe to the Motivate Moment by Mama Faye on Substack.com. And I have 3 podcasts that I'm currently doing on the Substack platform. And those 3 podcasts one is Small Steps, Big Change, which is coming back in probably the 1st of June. And I also have Understanding Cycles by Mama Faye, where I'm talking currently, just did a new series, and it's called Winning While Under Attack. And then I have this particular podcast, which is MOMAFEY-HT Becoming Me podcast. The reason why I usually put my name on my podcast, because sometimes a lot of these podcasts have similar names, but if you look for MOMAFEY-HT, my name will come up, and usually my podcasts will come up. And that's especially when you're on other platforms like podbean.com. Now, as a thank you for those that become a subscriber for free, I also have the Goals Journal, the Becoming Goals Journal, for free. It's 100% discount, meaning you'll get it free. And it's for you to track your progress with these goals that I'm talking about. Write them down, and you can also, it's a PDF actually, so you can actually type it in and then save it to your computer or your phone. And how you get access to it, you go to Substack, you subscribe for free. In the welcome email that you will receive, it will give you the discount code, and also it's going to tell you to go to the MOMAFEY-HT.com. That is the latest website. I'm just transferring my website, so some of it says MOMAFEYHometraining.com. That website, hopefully I'm going to be able to transition it to the MOMAFEY-HT.com. But for now, my new website is MOMAFEY-HT.com. And on that particular website, you can go to the shop. And in that shop is that Becoming Me Goal Journal. And that's just my way of saying thank you for being a part of this podcast and supporting what I'm doing. And then I also want, for those of you who want more information on each week podcast, I have the Becomers newsletter. And this week, we are going to go deeper into this topic, and I'm going to talk about the characteristics of a great leader, the signs of a bad leader, and the dangers of not growing in leadership. Because just because you become a leader, just because you become a great leader, does not mean that you can just sit and just put your feet up and say, I have arrived, and that's it. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to write about it. And I want all of you to continue to listen, to follow. Please subscribe and also share it with other people, because there may be people in your life that would like to become a part of this becoming process. I do have a Becomers Club that you can subscribe to on my website, and you can also subscribe to the Becomers Club by becoming a founder, and that's a one-time gift of $100, and that will also help support what I'm doing. But you become a part of that club. There's a private page, and you'll get one free coaching session with me as a thank you for supporting what I'm doing. And every Thursday, I will be live. I just started my first live conversation last week, and I will be doing that hopefully every Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and my TikTok people showed out and showed up. And I will also be doing that on Instagram. And then you can continue to listen to it on Substack as well. I'll be on there as well. And that is called the MOMAFEY Live Conversations. And of course, I'll post it later, so those of you who cannot attend live, you'll be able to find it as a replay. And of course, you can follow me at MOMAFEY-HT on most social media platforms, so you can stay in your journey. And listen closely, because what is coming next week is going to scratch you even more, but hopefully it will be in the best way. And what I'm going to talk about next week, and I'm going to this one is one that I'm trying to become myself, and it is, what if the business idea you keep putting off is actually the next level of your leadership? So the next episode, we're going to be talking about becoming a business owner and how to move from thinking about it to building it and what it takes. In the meantime, I want you to remember this. You do not have to become a great leader, and you will not become a great leader by waiting. You become a great leader by growing through every stage you are in. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for listening today. That is all for now, and I will see you next time.
I got something to say.